Nesta casa, Joana.
Hi everyone, this is Joana, and usually I do these videos in Portuguese, which I've just done, but this topic I actually want to share it in English too. This is something that I'm currently recovering from, I'm becoming aware of, and it has to do with exhaustion, with stress, with wanting to do too much at the same time, and in a way ignoring the signals of my own body to slow down, to take it easy, and to be aware of myself. I'm doing this vlog outside, and that is part of a commitment that I have created to find ways where I can create a balance in my own life. I live in London, I work here, I've been living here for 7 years now. And recently I had this extreme experience of exhaustion. And whenever I was talking about work or about myself as to how I was feeling, I would just cry. There was too much inside of me that I had suppressed, that I had hidden from my own self, that I had avoided to see. And then it was just kind of the bubble bursted, and I had to face it, and I had to force myself to slow down. So I'm just increasing the light because it's a bit cloudy now. And I had to slow down and put a stop into that autopilot mode, and give me time to understand what was going on. The experience that I had was of reacting to my own responsibilities, crying every time I was speaking about work, not wanting to face the day ahead, avoiding people, wanting to be alone, avoiding, or actually I couldn't even board my plane to come back to London. I was actually in Portugal at that time, where I was in next to nature, I was with family, and it was so interesting that everything was just accumulating at a point where I had to really stop and slow down. And I'm grateful with the fact that I had the support of my family and friends that could see the signs earlier than I could, or I wasn't seeing them. I wasn't being self-honest, and they said to me, "Joe, you need to slow down now. Take it easy. You're trying to do too much. Why don't you take some time off?" And in that moment I was like, "Oh, I can't. I have all these meetings, I have all these responsibilities. I can't do that right now." And the reality is that my body literally showed me that I had to. I was exhausted, and that was a physical experience where I couldn't see things clearly. There was this cloud around me, where I couldn't even think the next day. It was so short-term vision. It was very blurred inside of me. I couldn't decide what I wanted for the next day. I didn't have that clarity within me that usually I have. There wasn't motivation, which was really sad, because I'm always up for everything and anything. And then there was anxiety. In today's society, especially if you live in a city and you work, then you see that we very easily go into a work mode where we put the autopilot and we're expected to be always switched on. And it's up to us individually to help ourselves. We cannot wait for anybody else to tell us, like, "Hey, you need to slow down," or "Hey, how about you take some time off," or "Hey, how about you eat better, or do some sports, or go outside." We need to do those things for ourselves. There's a really interesting and a podcast that I really recommend, and I will leave the link in the description, which is about how to find that balance at work while you continue to focus on yourself, so you don't lose yourself in the midst of all your responsibilities. And that's what I'm currently doing every day. I have kind of a few commitments with myself, and those include having 1 hour of spending time with me, doing something more creative. That could be writing, but also simply walking outside. That could be creating a meal differently and relaxing. That could be having a conversation with a friend, or simply being outside. For me, it helps me a lot being in nature. And trying to have that balance every day and not waiting for the weekend to slow down. Because our bodies, we really need to respect our bodies first, and our health and well-being. And without this self-awareness and taking care of ourselves, we will not be able to be our best at work in what we do. And that's what I noticed. It's really hard to be creative if you are in that state of emotional burnout. It's a state of everything is a burden. Even it's hard to communicate, to share, to speak. It's just there's like as if your strength was just sucked in. There's no life force within you, and we are full of force. I mean, we're full of life. That's who we really are, and we even forget about it, and we don't nurture the best of us. This life force that exists within us, we tend to keep pushing aside and wanting to do everything else, and then we realize that we are not made of metal, and we need to nurture ourselves on a daily basis. If you've been through something similar, it will be nice to hear your thoughts about it and what you're currently doing to get out of that state of emotional burnout, exhaustion, and stress. To me, it was really, really cool to start discussing and opening up this topic with other people, and not being ashamed about it, not feeling a victim, but rather doing it from a point of self-support, of doing that, recognizing that my life as my existence is the most important thing, and it's the only thing I can really do something about it right now. And if I care about myself and do that on a daily basis, then I'll be able to help others and to be part of our society and contribute to a better world. I'm sorry, I just had to change the battery back. So far, doing something for myself, I was thinking of it as being selfish. And so I have redefined that word. And selfish is no longer about doing something for me and like fuck off everybody else. It's not about that. But it's about doing something for me, as in for myself, my cells of my body. The word fish in Portuguese means cool. So now I see selfish as being doing something that is cool for me, for my body cells, for my body, for my own being. And that has been so interesting because this past weekend, I think, was the most relaxing weekend I have had in a long time. The other thing it's funny that when you try to hide things from yourself, your body tends to show you. And a friend of mine that watches some of my previous vlogs, they are usually in Portuguese. She was saying to me, and thanks Anna for mentioning that she noticed that in some of my past vlogs I was having like a tired look in my eyes, and that is something that I've noticed, and I was seeing more like from a superficial perspectives, like, oh, now I have these dark circles around my eyes, like I'm tired. And I was really being dishonest. I was putting makeup to cover up instead of looking at the point that I really needed to look at. So that is my journey that I'm walking, and I invite you all to also look at how you can so easily go into a state of emotional burnout, and what you can practically do on a daily basis to avoid it, to prevent. Prevention is the best cure, so that we can be really the best of us, that we don't lose our life force, that we even remember to breathe, and not waiting for the weekend or for holidays in 2 months' time in order to create this self-stability, but do that on a daily basis. So check out that interview that I posted on the description. It is really, really good and helped me a lot to see how I can create the balance, this work-life balance that should be part of our lives anyways. But it's a reminder to be aware of ourselves first, and from there do everything else, and not the other way around. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. My videos are primarily in Portuguese, but I will, as soon as I can, I will start showing more in English as well. And my Instagram is primarily in English, so go and check it out. Thanks for watching, and take care. Bye bye.